Hello and welcome. Namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Bangladesh's central bank releases images of 6 redesigned banknotes. The nation's founder, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, will no longer figure on the nation's currency. South Korea's opposition celebrates first exit polls projections as they put Lee Jae-myung ahead in the presidential race. The nation underwent a snap poll after Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment over his botched martial law bid. Political heat in the Netherlands leaves its right-wing government on thin ice. Dutch far-right leader Geert Wilders' PVV party walks out of the governing coalition. Snap polls are likely. And it's the battle of the Reds in the Indian Premier League final tonight. Punjab Kings win the toss and elect to bowl first against Royal Challengers Bengaluru. Well, Bangladesh Bank has released images of 6 newly designed banknotes that will soon be in circulation. Notably, these new notes will not feature the image of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Bangladesh Bank Governor Dr. Hassan H. Mansoor presented the new designs to Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus on Tuesday. According to a spokesperson for the central bank, the redesigned notes will instead showcase images of significant national landmarks including Hindu and Buddhist temples. Meanwhile, all existing banknotes and coins featuring Mujibur Rahman will continue to be valid alongside the new series. South Korea began counting ballots on Tuesday after voting ended in a snap presidential election, with exit polls suggesting a likely win for Liberal candidate Lee Jae-myung. The result of a joint exit poll by broadcasters KBS, MBC and SBS has put Lee on 51.7% and his conservative rival Kim Moon-soo on 39.3%. The exit polls have in previous elections mostly been in line with the final results. A separate poll by broadcaster JTBC put Lee on 50.6% and Kim at 39.4%. Channel A also predicted a Lee win by similar margins. Around 78% of South Korea's 44.39 million eligible voters cast ballots to pick the leader, hoping to draw to close a 6 months of turmoil triggered by a shock martial law briefly imposed by former leader Yoon Suk-yeol. If the exit polls' projections are accurate, Lee should be on course to officially become president when the National Election Commission declares the winner sometime on Wednesday, immediately taking power, including becoming Commander-in-Chief of the military. South Korea is Asia's 4th largest economy. Now, in the Netherlands, Dutch Prime Minister Dick Schoof on Tuesday said he would step down, several hours after anti-Muslim populist Geert Wilders, leader of the largest government party, had quit the right-wing coalition. Wilders said his coalition partners were not willing to support his ideas on halting asylum migration. Many of the additional proposals put forward by Wilders had been dismissed during coalition talks because of legal concerns. By toppling the coalition over the issue of asylum, it's likely Wilders will put it at the center of his campaign in the snap elections that are likely to be called.
We
wanted a stricter asylum policy, more than stated in the main coalition government agreement. You can also see that many countries in the European Union, Austria, Poland, Germany, Belgium are going to take further measures. The main agreement also stated that we would be among the strictest country in Europe in terms of admission. We have not been doing that for a long time. So I also think that this tightening is completely in line with the outlined government agreement. The fact that the other coalition partners did not sign this is therefore actually a conflict with the government agreement.
Some Dutch lawmakers have expressed anger while others have sighed in relief after Wilders left the governing coalition. Leader of the People's Party for Freedom and Democracy called Wilders' decision incredibly irresponsible. Now, the Kremlin has asserted that Ukraine's peace efforts are complex and that it would be wrong to expect any imminent decisions. The reaction came after delegations of the two warring sides met for barely an hour in the Turkish city of Istanbul, without any breakthrough on proposed ceasefire. However, the talks did yield an agreement to conduct a new prisoner exchange. More in this report.
The latest round of peace talks between Ukraine and Russia, held in Istanbul on Monday, concluded with some positive developments. Both Russia and Ukraine agreed to hand over bodies of 6,000 killed soldiers. Although Moscow has rejected call for an unconditional ceasefire, it offered instead a partial truce of 2 to 3 days in some areas of the front line. Russia says it will only agree a full ceasefire if Kyiv gives up big new chunks of territory and accepts limits on the size of its army.
First, we have handed over our memorandum to the Turkish side, which consists of two parts. First, we have to achieve a real long-term peace. And the second part is what steps should be taken to make a full-fledged ceasefire possible. Moreover, in the second part, there is even a variety of options to enter this path or this path. The memorandum is quite detailed and worked through properly from our side. Therefore, the Ukrainian side decided to take it for study. If they study it, they will react to it, and we will see.
Ukrainian delegation gave a list of nearly 400 children it wanted Russia to return, but Russian delegation agreed to work on returning only 10 of them.
Regarding the children, we handed over a list of almost 400 children to the Russians, and they promised us to work out something in this field, but only up to 10 children. This is what their vision on humanitarian issues looks like.
Turkey proposed that Russian President Vladimir Putin, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and US President Donald Trump come together for a third round later this month. US President Donald Trump says he's open to the meeting. Bureau Report, DD India.
Meanwhile, Ukraine has claimed to have hit the road and rail bridge linking Russia and the Crimean Peninsula below the water level with explosives. SBU Security Service posted a video on its social media channels showing an explosion at the bridge. The SBU has said that it used 1,100 kilograms of explosives, damaging underwater pillars of the bridge, a key supply route for Russian forces in Ukraine. Now, if there's only two problems the German or even the European economies are suffering from, it would be Russia-Ukraine conflict and a historic meltdown of trade relations, both tied directly into the US and Donald Trump. This week, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz will be in the US to meet Donald Trump, and Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle, and he's joining me from Berlin to talk about it. Well, Lars, what's on top of the agenda for the Chancellor this time?
Thanks for having me. Well, you named the two problems we are facing. Now it seems the number one topic on the agenda for this bilateral meeting will be Russia's war in Ukraine. And rightly so. This geopolitical crisis, a war of aggression in Europe and now in its fourth year, it's obviously the most pressing problem to be solved internationally. And we've been at a crossroads lately after US President Trump has often taken Russia's side in the conflict. He's blamed Ukraine for the war. He dismissed it as a regional conflict that the Europeans were supposed to deal with. And just very recently, over the past few weeks, Trump seemed to have come around again to see that Russia's Vladimir Putin might just be the aggressor and the one who will have to move towards achieving peace in the region. Anyway, now Merz has one clearly defined goal. He needs to convince Trump to increase pressure on Putin, to criticize and ideally sanction Russia, to pull any support from Putin, even if it's just words of encouragement or criticism of Ukraine. Merz will try to bring the US back to the table, hoping that economic sanctions from the US against Russia can force Putin to actually negotiate.
And Lars, so much for the personality of the two leaders, but is there anything substantial helping Merz win Trump's favor?
Yes, there is indeed. So Trump has long criticized Europeans for not investing enough in defense and the country's individual militaries. But it's exactly here where things are moving. Confronted with the reality of Russia's war in Ukraine and the US shying away from the conflict, Merz has said he wants to invest 5% of Germany's GDP into defense. 3.5% would go straight into the military, with the remaining 1.5% going into the country's infrastructure. Begs the question, of course, is that really a 5% pledge then? And yes, it is, because in case of a war, for example, a country located as centrally in the heart of Europe as Germany is, obviously we need a functioning infrastructure with rail, roads and bridges, airports and harbors and such. So indeed, Merz's plans for investment might placate Trump and ideally bring the US back a bit closer towards Germany and the European Union.
Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk will call for a parliamentary vote of confidence in his coalition government after his candidate Rafał Trzaskowski lost the presidential election on Sunday. Poland's Prime Minister said on Tuesday that a vote of confidence in the Polish government will take place on the 11th of June. Nationalist opposition candidate Karol Nawrocki narrowly won Poland's presidential election, delivering a blow to the centrist government's efforts to cement Warsaw's pro-European orientation. Let's now take a look at some other stories making news around the world. Well, Australia has discovered a newly isolated marine-derived fungus that can degrade polypropylene, representing a breakthrough in the battle against plastic waste. The fungus currently is being tested and it shows promise to exceed plastic degrading potential of the terrestrial fungus. Bolivia is protesting against the country's worsening economic crisis and the current government. Demonstrations against the worsening fuel shortage erupted around as farmers took onto the streets. The shortage is beginning to affect farmers' ability to harvest their crops, raising concerns in the struggling South American country, where agriculture is a critical economic driver. Thailand organized a memorial service at Thai-Burma Railway for the people who died building the track during the Second World War. It earned the name Death Railway due to the huge number of lives lost during its construction. Tens of thousands are estimated to have perished due to harsh working conditions and disease. With rising temperatures during the summer in Morocco, many people turn to the beaches as a natural refuge for relaxation and recreation. The number of visitors to the beaches increases as they seek to enjoy the cool waters and fresh air, making the beach a preferred destination to escape the scorching heat. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. India's Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan delivers a lecture on the future wars and warfare. And India's northeastern part reels under severe floods and rain.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan will be delivering, while delivering in fact a special lecture on future wars, spoke about the success of Operation Sindoor. He added that the operation was a big achievement and it created history.
Operation Sindoor created a kind of a history of sorts as far as air warfare is concerned. Successful operations were carried out against an adversary which was almost equally mathematical. It is not operations against an adversary which had no air force or no air defense worth a shot. It was against an adversary, and against that, if you are able to carry out relentless operations deep inside with precision and offensive in intent, I think that was a big achievement, and we were able to penetrate those air defense networks with impunity and at will.
Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal is visiting France, where he held a bilateral meeting with key international players. On Tuesday, the minister met with Director General of World Trade Organization Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and Saudi Arabia's Commerce Minister. Earlier, the minister held a meeting with France's Minister Delegate for Foreign Trade, Laurent Saint-Martin, in Paris, where both the leaders discussed ways to deepen economic cooperation between the two countries. Now, as part of India's Operation Sindoor and in line with its principled and resolute stance against terrorism, delegations of Indian parliamentarians have been travelling to key world capitals exposing Pakistan for supporting terrorism. The all-party delegation led by Ravi Shankar Prasad of the BJP interacted with media in London. The delegation spoke about the need for strong and determined measures against terrorism. Another delegation led by Supriya Sule of the NCP Sharad Pawar party held a meeting with Ahmed Abul Gheet, Secretary General of the League of Arab States in Cairo, Egypt. Highlighting concerns over cross-border terrorism, particularly from Pakistan, the delegation emphasized India's commitment to combating this global threat, fostering stronger bilateral cooperation for peace and security.
India, 5 weeks ago, India's soul was hurt. And as you all are all aware, what happened in Pahalgam 5 weeks ago. It came as a shock to all of us, but today in Egypt we have come as proud Indians who are going to rally together to fight terrorism anywhere in the world. So we seek your support.
The visit of the delegation led by Sanjay Kumar Jha drew to a close with a series of high-level meetings in Kuala Lumpur. They held a productive meeting with representatives of the Southeast Asia Regional Centre for Counter-Terrorism in Kuala Lumpur. Discussions centred around regional synergy through CRCCT, particularly in legal frameworks, counter-terror financing, community resilience, as well as promoting studies on the ways to address cross-border terrorism. This delegation also met with Malaysian Parliamentary Special Committee on International Relations and International Trade. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to visit Jammu and Kashmir on the 6th of June, marking his first trip to the region since the deadly terror attack in Pahalgam last month. The Prime Minister will inaugurate the mighty Chenab Bridge, which is the world's highest railway bridge, standing tall in the Union Territory. The bridge, part of the Udhampur-Srinagar-Baramulla railway link, has been built to withstand nature's toughest tests. It is indeed a proud symbol of New India's strength and vision. Now to some weather updates. The Indian Met Department has issued an orange alert for 11 states, including Uttar Pradesh and Punjab, warning of intense rainfall, thunderstorms and potential weather disruptions. In the IMD weather forecast, it has been cautioned that heavy rainfall would persist on the 3rd of June in the northeast Indian states of Assam, Manipur, Mizoram, Meghalaya and Tripura. The IMD has said the region would continue to witness rainfall activity for the next 5 to 7 days. Weather forecast for Delhi today had indicated the possibility of mostly cloudy skies, mild rain, thunderstorms and strong winds. The highest temperature is expected to be, or was rather, between 35 to 37 degrees Celsius, providing some relief from the persistent summer highs. The IMD has issued a yellow alert as well, urging residents to stay weather aware. Meanwhile, the flood situation in Assam has significantly aggravated, with Shribhumi being the worst hit district, followed by Kachar and Nagaon. According to the Assam State Disaster Management Authority, the river Brahmaputra, Barak and all their tributaries are flowing above the danger level. Rescue operations have been ongoing round the clock. The state government has opened 165 relief camps and 157 relief distribution centres. District administrations have deployed SDRF teams for rescue and relief operations. So far, one person has died in the district due to flooding. In Sikkim, the first group of stranded individuals was successfully evacuated from Chatan on Monday. 2 Mi-17 V5 helicopters completed the evacuation mission, landing safely at Pakyong Greenfield Airport with 34 evacuees on board. Now, apart from the valley areas of Imphal, East and West Thobal, Bishnupur and Kakching districts, flooding has severely affected several villages in Senapati, while landslides have been reported from Ukhrul, Phezol, None and Tamenglong. Authorities have also opened 31 relief camps reported damage at 14 infrastructure sites and confirmed that at least 3,365 homes have been impacted. 1,599 people have also been relocated to safer areas. Sri Lanka's President Anurakumara Dissanayake has met with Australian Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister Richard Marles in Colombo, strengthening bilateral ties with maritime security in the Indian Ocean region high on the agenda. The visit signals stronger cooperation as the two nations seek to ensure a free, open and secure Indian Ocean amid rising strategic challenges. Nepal's Defence Minister Manbir Rai hailed the successful Nepal-India joint Mount Kanchenjunga expedition as a milestone in bilateral ties. The joint team, comprising 10 Nepali Army and 5 Indian Army personnel, successfully summited Mount Kanchenjunga on the 19th and 20th of May. The expedition was officially flagged off in the presence of India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on the 3rd of April. And now let's get you sporting updates. And Royal Challengers Bengaluru are taking on Punjab Kings in the Indian Premier League final in Ahmedabad. The match is ongoing right now. Punjab Kings captain Shreyas Iyer has won the toss and opted to bowl first. If you look at the score now, it's well, Virat Kohli is around, he's there, but they've lost one wicket in the form of Phil Salt. That's RCB. Mayank Agarwal is at the crease. 39 for 1 is the score in about 4 overs. Now, this is the 4th final for Royal Challengers Bengaluru, who finished runners-up in 2009, 2011 and 2016, while Punjab Kings have been in the IPL Final once, just once, in 2014. Both the teams hope to end their 17-year-long title drought. Now, the 2022 Wimbledon finalist Nick Kyrgios has said he will miss this year's tournament due to injury. The 30-year-old Australian has played very little tennis over the last 2 years because of various injuries, notably a wrist problem that requires surgery. In March at the Miami Open, he won his first singles match since 2022, but he pulled out of the ongoing French Open due to a knee injury. Kyrgios went down in 4 sets to Novak Djokovic in the 2022 final. The 3rd Grand Slam of the year starts on the 30th of June. 4-time Olympian Deepika Kumari and world champion Ojus Deotale will spearhead India's challenge at the Archery World Cup Stage 3 in Turkey. Former world number 1 Deepika Kumari will look to add to her impressive tally of 37 medals in Archery World Cup history. Jyoti Wendam will also be a part of the women's event, along with Anshika Kumari, Ankita Bhakat and Simranjeet Kaur. World champion Ojus Deotale, 2-time Asian Games gold medalist Abhishek Verma, Rishabh Yadav and Uday Kamboj make up India's men's archers squad. Dheeraj Bomadevara, Atanu Das and Tarundeep Rai will also be seen in action. India has sent a 16-member contingent to compete at the tournament in Antalya city from the 4th to the 8th of June. And that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. Just scan the QR code on the screen. Download the app. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.